You know, the thing about these notes is they read like a letter to the editor versus professional notes. In fact, they read a lot like the letter to the editor.
The graphic.
That Mr. Dwelly wrote back in September.
Gracias.
I have Mr. Dwelly's letter to the editor. And so if you all could turn to the June 14th minutes and toward the bottom, the third paragraph up. That last sentence in the third paragraph from the bottom, it starts with Commissioner Wabi. I want you to follow along. I'm going to actually read from Tom Dwelly's letter to the editor, and I want you to read from the strategic planning minutes. Commissioner Wabi asked Commissioner Russian directly whether her effort to fire the county engineer was based on his not having fired Supervisor Tim Beck, and she said yes. Now I'm going to continue reading in Tom Dwelly's letter, and you guys continue following in the minutes. Commissioner Russian also stated that she didn't trust the county administrator because he took sides in keeping the county engineer and solicited letters of support for him. She stated that his actions set up and divided the board. Kind of word for word, ain't it, guys?
Did you say it?
Kind of word for word. So then let's go to the minutes from July 22nd. And in that middle paragraph, it starts with the word after the county administrator. You follow along. I'm going to read from Tom Dwelly's letter to the editor. The county administrator was told by the facilitator that he was not permitted to ask questions. When the county auditor treasurer asked if she could clarify a statement made by another department head, the facilitator said no. Virtually identical again, isn't it? So when I was reading through the minutes, I thought, you know, I've read this somewhere before. And so I started to pull out some things, and I realized that Tom Dwelly's letter to the editor is actually our strategic planning meeting minutes. And so I guess I want to ask you, Mr. Johnson, did you play a part in writing this letter to the editor?
Not at all.
Actually, you didn't have anything to do with this?
Nope.
So if we deposed county staff or questioned them as to the first time they saw or heard about this letter to the editor, they would say they have never seen or heard of this prior to reading it in the paper?
I have no idea what anybody else would say. I never saw it. I did state earlier that there was a request for the minutes.
Mm-hmm. You know, another thing that's just really amazing in this letter to the editor, that there were so many statements that Dwelly writes in here that really could have only been known by a handful of people that were there, because, you know, it's important to note Mr. Dwelly never attended a strategic planning meeting. How would that, how can we explain that?
By reading the minutes.
Well, there's things that aren't in the minutes either, that are in this letter to the editor, that you had to be at the meeting to know.
So Deb, you're
For
saying
instance,
people who
he's
are in
out
the
of order,
audience
and I don't know
cannot
how long that
talk?
you want to tolerate that.
Use the
Perhaps he
canopy,
needs to
bro.
go. So anyway, so I'm just kind of curious, you know, there's things in here, Dr. Richard Carlson, when addressing commissioners, always referred to each commissioner, Norman, Commissioner Harms, etc., until he addressed Commissioner Russian, whom he repeatedly addressed as Debbie. Do you think there might be some issue with that relationship? He wasn't at any of the meetings.
Yeah.
How would he know how he addressed anybody?